Hello and welcome to the first round of the HSO Gold Star series, coming to you tonight from Riverside for the Mission Bell 200, using the Historics GT and Touring Cars mod for R-Factor, and I must say it's all looking grand and beautiful here tonight, except the odd off with the way these cars are working. Again, pardon for the late start of the broadcast. I've been struggling a little bit with getting onto the server itself, presumably mainly because I raise this mod on other places where I have a bit of they have a bit of add-ons and stuff. But anyway, without much else to talk about in general, let's head on to the server where qualifying is finishing. I believe there are about 6 or 7 minutes ish left, I believe. But let's see if we can find anyone. Oh, Jason White right on cue. As we can see him going through turn 1, a very fast sweeping left-hander. Then up into the S's, right, left, try to get the car down to speed, and then through this right-hander, left over a crest, into this right-hander, the car getting very floaty through the section, up the hill here with a slight kink left, and then a 90-degree right. And we also skip the infield part of the circuit. This spot on the circuit is very dirty and very little grip. Then into this pretty much 180-degree corner down to, I believe that's actually first gear for Jason here, to the right, and then this left kink onto the I believe it's about 1 mile long back straight, which is also used for drag racing, understandably enough. At least that's how I translate the lines and everything. And down under the Champion Bridge, through this little kink here where the car gets very loose on you, and hard stop here into this banked right-hander. Pretty much a very long sweeping right-hand hairpin back onto the start-finish straight. As Jason decides to abort his lap. So let's see what we have around. We have Brian Yannick in the number 15. If you just allow me a few moments here, I shall bring up the entry list. We can have a quick look at the cars in this race as well. These are of course very old 70s Can-Am cars. Or Trans Am, my apologies. And this number 15 car in the hands of Brian Yannick is of course one of the Ford Mustangs, as he gets it very crossed up into the final turn. Very nicely held right there. Right on the edge of adhesion there. On a slide through the whole corner. And this particular Mustang is of the 1969 variety. Let's see if we have David Saber here in the number 8, which is a Pontiac Firebird 1970 edition. Very beautiful looking car. And sounds amazing. Sorry, I was just testing the sound levels. I need to up the sounds just a little bit. As here we have the number 69, Ray Riddle, which I believe is one of the AMC Javelins, and it is indeed probably one of the quicker cars we raced here tonight. At least one of the nicest cars to drive, I must say. There we go. So I just want to have a quick gander in the settings here, volume a little bit. There we go, I think. Let's see, we have Jason, which I believe is also in one of the AMC Javelins. Sorry, number 6 that is. Yeah, there's another AMC. Let's see. Oh, a very cross Grant here. Oh, dearie me. That will have hurt. And he did that in his Pontiac. Let's see, do we have anyone else in a different car? Let's see, I believe this is another one. Yes it is. That's one of the Chevrolet Camaros in the handles of David Yates. That's also of the 1970 variety or editions. Here we have one of the Plymouth Barracudas, another very beautiful sounding car. To be fair, all of the cars sounds beautiful, but some sound more beautiful than others. Ooh. Pardon me. That's just amazing. And I believe that's all the cars in terms of makes and stuff that is on here. So we have that's David Yates on pole for the moment, with about 6 minutes left. That's actually just fine. Somewhere we can sit and watch these cars come by. See there, Lucas Vidra really having to work to keep the car on the straight and narrow. Like Yannick all crossed up. There's the Mustang. Oh, and here we have on cue Charlie Cohn, not a newcomer by any stretch of the imagination, but he has been away from HSO for quite a while. I believe the last race I saw him race was the Indianapolis 500. Would have been the 73 car, so 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's the last time I saw Charlie race here at HSO, but it's nice to see him back. And I certainly hope he has a good one. With that Ford Mustang of his. course, we're racing here at Riverside tonight. Really crossed up for Charlie there. A nowadays defunct racetrack. It was taken away for housing and for housing estates and shops. I believe in the 90s. But it was always a very hot and warm location for races to be held, as we can see, with the ground being fairly dry around the circuit. But loved and remembered for being the home of car racing, pretty much, or road course racing in a way, in the western US. In terms of location, it's in California. Oh, as Charlie gets really sideways and late into that corner. That's the slipstream working for you. He's getting really close to Alberto Jr. here and actually goes up the inside, makes a bit of contact. That's not quite what you need in qualifying. Oh, and into the wall goes Eves as well. These cars, of course, are big muscle cars, 5-liter engines, predominantly or only V8s. And as both Alberto and Eves gets really loose there. Ouch. And four speed gearboxes. Yes, one of those. I would expect to have a decent race here, and as I say that, he spins. Steve Parker, always someone to have an eye on in the with heavy cars, and a lot of power to go along with them. As Jan Riot goes on for one more lap, as did the car behind, which is Michael Drexler, getting really sideways out of the dirt there. Wow, really a lot of sliding, and this will be a lot of fun to watch, and of course for the drivers to drive. Thank you, Tom. So the circuit closed in 1989. My apologies for not having all my facts correct here. That's difficult to say, David. I'd assume many to be able to finish because the cars can take a beating, but probably expect a few retirements as well, especially in the SS, which is a very tricky part of the track. And if people would be up to working their brakes too hard. But we have on the front row of the grid on pole, the number 1 of Austin Johnson in the Chaparral James Hall entry. Which I'm sorry, I'm mistaking that for another car. Oh, Grant Rudol looks to be second on the grid in the BFD Radical entry. Let's see. Warm up to come here. Like Warren Park indeed, in terms of tracks being torn down and used for other purposes. Yeah, we will have, in terms of the race, 1 formation lap followed by a standing start to commence a 79 lap race. And of course it'll be a tiring ride for everyone, considering how sideways these cars get, but surely everyone will have a lot of fun, as we have about 4 minutes left until the start of the race. And we have, for the race, 24 cars at the moment. I'll just have a quick gander. Which is everyone that are going to be in this race, which is great to see. That cars are out on track again. Let's bring you back to the track, and this is the final turn with the banking, with everyone getting crossed up, trying to get the power down. Just great to watch. That just seems a little bit loud, so let's have another slight lowering of that. Something like that, maybe. Oh, you don't need to worry, Angel. They will be able to keep it on track very nicely, I think. So here comes David Jakes very wide. He didn't scrape the wall, he got mighty close. Just a couple of drivers testing the pit entry as well. Echo Sabre all sideways, driving it on the throttle. And as some of you who are watching have said, this is probably one of the best combos around. As Charlie really sideways, actually laying down some rubber, getting through the last corner. But in my view, I think an even better track for these cars is the track that is known or have been known as Infineon Raceway. I'm not entirely sure of the name in other guises. It's also called the Sonoma Raceway, of course. It's one of the better tracks in America, in my view. In terms of the way of how it drives, but Riverside ain't far behind.
Attention drill, all non-essential personnel.
There we go. Race will be starting very short. Well, race, but the formation lap will start very shortly. As we can see here, everyone joining the grid for this race. Everyone looking very nice indeed. So 24 cars strong sets off on the formation lap for this race. And we have on pole position Austin Johnson laying down a lot of rubber to get some heat into the rear tires. And his Chaparral entered Camaro, I think. It's one of the troubles with not being too young to have followed this stuff live. Yep, one of the Camaros. Second on the grid is Grant Riddle in the number 92 Pontiac Firebird. Third will be David Jakes in the second of the Camaros. Fourth on the grid will be Jason White, a very nice qualifying session for him, lining up fourth. Fifth will be Ray Riddle. Sixth for David Saber. Eighth for François Remet. Eighth for Peter Lavach. Ninth for Brian Yannick. And rounding out the top 10 is Yves Placé, with Alberto Equino, Alberto Jr. that is in 11th. 12th for Steve Parker. 13th for Jason Whited. 14th for Alberto Senior. 15th for Juha Boos and 16th for Gerard Rion. 17th for Lukas Vidra and 18th for Charlie Coe. And 19th for Dave Miller in the number 110 car. And rounding up the top 20 is Mikael Drexler in one of the Mustangs. 21st will be Mick Chapman. 22nd will be Greg Della Cella, and 23rd on the grid will be Jason Fitch. So we have lost one going around here, haven't we? 11. Looks like Hole is out again. I didn't see him on the grid. So it would seem we've unfortunately lost Raoul Jereb going to this race session, but it's very unfortunate, but sometimes luck isn't on your side. As we have, it's about to get underway. We're just waiting for the green flag to come out. Revs rising. And the race is underway, the green flag is out. Austin Johnson gets a good start, as does Jason White. Oh, all hell is breaking loose here, it looks like. This will be a crazy turn 1. I see a lot of cars streaming through here, but everyone looks to have survived turn 1. Although one has been left behind, that's Mick Chapman. Possibly taking it easy, seeing as he was a late entry. For this race. Everyone streaming through Greg with a bit of trouble there. We have Austin Johnson still in the lead, Jason White second, and Grant Riddle going for third there on Peter Lavach. Getting the position done. Here we go, there's Grant. See, will he go for it? Yes, he does. Will he be able to make it through the kink here? Oh, this will be close. White trying to defend, but looks like Grant will have made it. Lavach trying to go round outside of Jason there, but can't quite make it. And we have 3 wide behind. That's David Yates, who's got way behind on the start, along with Saber and Boss. Looks like Boss might gain 2 positions here. Nope, here comes Yates up the inside with a cutback, really sideways, but gets the position back. Ooh, and Saber cutting quite a bit there. With Yates now on the dirt. A lot of cars on the dirt. That's, I believe, Steve Park and Lucas Riedler going at it very close indeed. Oh, there's someone way up. Oh no, there's a big crash behind. Dear me. That's Greg Delacella and Charlie Cohn, unfortunately out of this race by the looks of things. They both lost a wheel at least. You can see, so Charlie Cohn looks like he started the situation, outbraking himself in that part of the track and spearing across. And then Greg came around. As we can see here, Charlie trying to get back on the track, but that was not a good idea, and unfortunately both of them are out of this race. Dear me, that's very unfortunate. Whereas here comes Ray Riddle on the inside of David Saber. Yannick just ahead, and Saber going for the cutback in the last corner here. Gets the position back. Will Ray cut back once again? No, he won't. Pardon me as I try to find the camera angles here. Just a quick look, it's still Austin Johnson the lead, Grant Riddle second, Jason White and Peter Lavach. Looks like they were really at it. Last time went through a timing beacon, but on the screen here we have Yannick and Saber getting very close with Alberto Junior just ahead. A whole stream of cars. I believe that's actually Jason White at the front of this queue. Looks like Peter Lavach behind him. Oh, and Ray trying to find a way up the inside of David Saber there, but not quite able to make it. Down the back straight we go. Slipstreaming galore. And there goes Sabre up the inside of Brian. And here comes Ray as well, looking to try and get in on the action. Will Yannick really go up the inside there? No, he won't. Oh, he will, because Sabre outbroke himself just a tiny bit. Oh, and really sideways gets Ray, trying to get the power on. When Sabre actually held it around outside there. It's very impressive. That's Francois Remen. Oh, and Johan Boos and Jason White has lost 3 positions here. Now looking back from Peter Lavac's car on Yves Placé. Oh, Boos really crossed up. Manages to get the car stopped. If only just. When he gets really sideways on the dirty tarmac here. So he just goes up the inside of Peter Lavac. Really heavy lockup on the right front there, but looks like he will just about... No, actually Peter Lavac gets back on the exit. He gets the position back. Great stuff. But here comes Yves again down the straight in the slipstream. Looks like he'll get a position here. At least he's ahead before the kink. And here goes Chapman up, looking for a bit of a move on Jason Fitch as well. Well, it looks like Jason has lost a bit more time here. Not sure if he's just struggling a little bit. Yep, it looks like he is, because he has a bit of damage on the front. And then behind we have Ray Riddell and Brian Yannick at it. Ray now trying to make the move. Ooh, that's very close. And Brian trying for the cutback. Not quite able to make it. Brian, who actually backs off there because he cut the inside. Sporting of it. Jason White now under attack from David Yates. David trying to make up for a lacking start. When behind we have Simracing, Alberto Union, David Sabre, Alberto holding on for now. He's actually quite close behind Francois Remen, who has dropped a few places here. See if Alberto can do anything about him. Looks like he will. At least he's up side by side with him. Getting a push from David Sabre down the straight, and both of them get by Francois. And just to check it in up at the front, we have Johnson still in the lead, quite a bit of a lead now from Grant Riddell. About 7 laps I'd expect in the books. 5 laps actually, okie dokie. And third for the moment is Peter Lavac, although he has used Placé for fairly close company. And it's Frost and it's White and Yates together. It's White is able to hold on for now. And then we have Alberto Junior actually laying in 7th. I believe that would be 6th or 7th. Very nice opening part to his race, or as I give him the commentator's curse there. He is really slow off that turn and drops to 8th. Sorry, 9th actually. Sorry Alberto. And here comes David Yates on a good exit of that right-left combination. Down the straight is right up the boot of Jason White here. Let's see if he can make anything that make it work here. Of course that AMC is very quick down the straight, but here comes David trying to get up the inside, really crossed up out, coming up the kink. too wide as well behind. In Sabre and Alberto Equino. Alberto trying for the cutback. And Yake's actually going around outside of Jason White there. Will he be able to stay off the wall though? He is. That's a great pass. Very nicely done, David. See, here comes Ray on Brian. They are still at it here. When Brian going around outside and holds the position for now. And then it's Steve not far behind, and then it's Alberto Ibanez. Wester Adriot has a massive off. Dear me, that looks like that might be his race over. It would seem it is indeed. That's very unfortunate. So Adriot is out, as is Lucas Vidra actually. I didn't notice he dropped out earlier. Sometimes luck isn't on your side. I believe we have Ray on the left side of his car. He's actually way far ahead at the end of the straight. Of course, Ray driving one of the AMCs as well. Whereas he's very wide here. Could open up for Brian to go by. Not quite. Be able to go though. And of course, with how sideways everyone looks to be, tyres will surely come into effect in one way or another. As Brian gets a little bit wide on the apex there, Steve looking for a move. Fire coming out of Ray's car as he goes for a downshift. These cars are a spectacle. As the top four is pretty much alone. And we have several cars running for position. Actually on board with the Dodge, I believe, of Alberto Senior. Challenger indeed, from the 1970. Not the sleekest car around, but the look of it so, that's for sure. A lot of understeer for Steve until he got back on the power there. But on the other hand, Alberto had a bit of oversteer. Let's look at all the dirt getting kicked up here. You see, so that's Austin in first, Grant Goodall still second, and there's clearly a bit of a wait, to say the least. That's a very long wait. And here comes Yves Placé, so Lavage just made a bit of a mistake somewhere. Dropped a lot of time, so Placé third, Lavage fourth, David Yates fifth, Ball sixth, Saber now seventh with Wyatt eighth, Green on ninth, and Lemaire running up top 10 with Yannick, Park, Lidl, and Ibanez. Ray actually lost out to Steve there. So Steve starting to make his way up the field as he now looks up the inside of Brian Yannick into the final turn. Just about is able to stay off Brian's car there, I think. Steve, of course, in one of the Mustangs. Yannick also in a Mustang. Sorry, Steve, of course, in one of the Chevrolet Camaros. Absolute. That's a mistake on my part. My apologies. We're really sideways. But I did try that Camaro, and it tends to be very, very loose. But it seemed like a pretty nice car to drive, actually. You can see that Steve is having to work the car very hard indeed. It's absolutely great to see these cars being flung around this track. See, Brian could be under pressure again, as is Steve from Ray. As Steve goes up the inside through the kink here. Oh, and just about makes it out in front of Brian. Brian trying to cut back. Looks like he'll just about be able to sneak up the inside. Steve so sideways on the throttle. Still gets the power down pretty nicely, it looks like. He actually stays ahead, but that was a massive sideways moment for him. All the road being used, and then some for some of the turns. Brian a bit off the apex again, but looks like he got the power down quite well. As David Saber has had an off. There he is. Let's see if we can have a look at what happened. It was simply a bit of just a bit too much throttle, trying to get off that turn. His Pontiac will have a bit of chasing to do, try and get back to where he was before. When Steve going again up inside of Brian there, or defending from Brian. Brian and again looking for the cutback. This time Steve is a bit more wise to it. Holds on. David's so close to the outside wall. Barely able to hold the car on between the barriers, but he's able to do it just about after a few stabs at it. And again, Saber sideways. I wonder if he's taken everything out of his rear tires. definitely looks very ominous that he is so more sideways than anyone else. As Brian is looking up the inside for that position, there was Jason White was very wide. I wonder if he may have had a bit of a tap from Eves. Dave Miller doing a good job staying on track, as is Mikael Drexler and Mick Chapman. Jason Fitch as well, who is the first to be put a lap down, unfortunately, but we can see that he's had a couple of battle scars already, but hopefully he'll be able to finish nonetheless. Let's see, let's get back to Jason White and Alberto Ibanez here with their fight for 15th and 16th. Alberto a bit late on the brakes there, still able to hold it on the track though, nicely done. Oh, Alberto! Oh, fortunately lost it on the brakes there. Hopefully the car ain't too badly damaged and we can keep going. A bit bent, but hopefully only cosmetics. Let's have a bit of a ride along now with Peter Lavac, who's back up to third actually. He's gotten back by his Placé. David Yates not that far behind, looking for third place to keep himself in the running for the Gold Star Championship. Top 6, I believe, score points in this race. And here comes David Yates on Yves Placé. Yves Placé had a bit of a lacking corner there. Yates not quite able to get it stopped. Can he still hold it on the outside on the exit though? Yes, he can. Nice pass there. Gets a little bit wide though. That could open up for Yves to get back by. Looks like he may be able to do it. Useful Ford Mustang working very well down the straight. David Yates Camaro having a bit more trouble. Oh, what a pass from Yates! That's a brilliant move. Can he hold it on the inside though and get out in front? Yes, he can. That's a fantastic move from David. Got it sideways on the brakes on the outside. Got it tucked into the inside apex and got the run through the corner. Oh, really crossed up here though. Need to stay ahead. I'm sure the Yves won't try around outside there. No, he won't. But David under pressure, real pressure here. Both of them really punishing their tires in this battle. David getting very close to those hay bales. Just look at these guys work. unfortunately, Steve Parker has retired as well. I see. I don't think I'll be able to get that on the replay. And Alberto Junior out as well. Oh, dearie me. Drivers starting to drop out with the difficulty of driving these cars. It seems like. Well, Yves Placé is really wide and scrapes the barriers there. Bors with a slight battle scar on the left front, presumably from this left-hander here. Sorry, right-hander. Hitting the left-hand barrier. I more meant to say, I think.
Microphone activated.
So I touched the wrong buttons as well, trying to tap. But it looks like everyone is more or less spread out now. Let's actually take a moment to ride on board with Austin Johnson in the lead. Let's see how you go about driving this track as quickly as it's possible in his Chevrolet Camaro. Now that's, I believe, as close to perfection as we'll get. I'm actually intrigued to have a look at what the fluctuation of lap times is. 32.4 is his quickest lap, but then you can see here 32.8, 32.5, 32.9. Quite a few 33.7, 33.7, 32.7, 32.6, 32.4, 32.5. It fluctuates quite a bit. And it looks like the same can be said for Grant, so clearly it looks perfect, but it's far from easy to drive these cars at the pace they are setting. Oh, David a little bit wide there. In his pursuit of Peter Lovac in third place. It would look like that's the closest battle on track. Along with this one between Sabre and Ibanez. Sabre makes a slight mistake there. Difference in the throttle application now between David and Austin, who we were riding on board with earlier. It's a lot more sudden in his application of the throttle I would claim anyway. Let's see if is Ray and Brian still at it. They just won't let this battle go, will they? Was Brian understeers? It's Ray's opportunity to get up inside, and he does so. How close do you want it through turn 1? Ray a little bit deep there. Brian trying to make use of it, but doesn't look like he'll quite be able to make it. Now on board with Lavash, looking at David Yates, trying to get closer. I think it's just outside of slipstream range, but give it another lap and he'll be close enough, I think. Have a bit of a go. When you look at that entry to the last corner, that's absolutely brilliant. That's very impressive to watch from David. There goes Chapman being lapped by these guys. Very sportingly gets out of the way and lets them keep going with their battle. David really strong through the apex of that uphill right-hander. I believe it's turn 6 or 7. It was a bit of a mistake from Peter there. Gives David a bit of an opportunity to look up the inside, but David not quite able to get the power on. Peter holds on for now. Peter also posted on the forum, actually. While practicing for this race, he had his, I believe his child is 3 months old. His child was actually always how close do you want it there. That's a bit of a bump. He was actually driving around this track with his 3-month-old child sitting in his lap, looking quite intrigued by what was going on the screen. So by the looks of it, there's another future member of HSO there, if we give it another 15 to 20 years. Like David might be willing to go for a move here, not quite. Can Peter get it stopped though? Yes he can. But again, David getting so close. A bit too sideways on throttle there though. Peter parking his car on the apex of the corner, looking for the possible run himself. Pardon me, I've been both refereeing and playing floorball games today, so my voice ain't quite holding up as well as I was hoping, so if I do cough in your ears, then Please pardon my lack of etiquette. So it looks like these guys are actually spreading out a little bit again. OS Peter gets a bit sideways there. That's possibly a mistake that lets David catch back up. As Grant gets by Dave Miller there. Yep, David is back on him. Looking for a good run here. Looks like he got a very nice and straight exit. Could be a bit of an opportunity, half an opportunity down here. Quite able to make it, but let's see if he can get on the throttle nice and consistently this time around. Yep, looks a lot better than last time. Here comes David with a great run. Quite able to make use of it though, unless he goes up the inside. That would have been an audacious up-braking maneuver. But he's looking for the cutback here. See what kind of run he can get onto the front straight and what he can do in turn 1. Not quite. That 33 machine is working fantastically down the straights. Let's see what's going on a bit further back. We have François Romain and Jason White fairly close. As is Yannick Boss and Riddle, so they've changed positions. Now it's Ray in front. You have Boss in the middle and Brian at the back. For that particular group. As was mentioned, it would seem like Alberto Ibanez has decided to park the car. According to what I read on the forum, his wife decided to put the heating on very high, and rather than suffering through a race where he wasn't quite enjoying the car, he has decided to park it and call it an evening. Let's ride on board with Brian for a bit. Let's see what he can do about your balls. Gets closer to you here. Jason Fitch ahead, left car. Soldiering on, trying to reach the finish, which is really nice to see. Whereas Juha makes a massive mistake there on the brakes. Brian looking for the run. Not sure he's not moving over to the left quite, so I think Juha is still there. As Brian gets by, you are looking for the run off this left-hand kink onto the back straight. And there's Mick Chapman as well. I believe Jason and Mick is on the same lap, so this could spell a bit of trouble, but Jason gets nicely out of the way there, lets the faster cars by. Brian runs a little wide. Have Juha inside here. actually hear him. Not quite able to make that work. Mick takes to the off track to stay out of the way in the S's. Very sporting, but looked a bit scary. Jason Whitehead, with a bit of a mistake there, but he was getting closer to the man Jason White. As Grant shortcuts the track, as is Austin Johnson still in the lead, now with 26 of our 79 laps completed, with 16 runners still in the race. Once again, jump on board with David Yates. Let's see if he can finally make it past Peter Lavach, which he's been trying to do for the past 10 or something laps. So David is struggling just a tiny bit, getting on the throttle with quite a bit of the wheel spin, but as Peter gets really sideways going into the bank right-hander. But thanks to the banking and with the car gripped up there, he was able to hold it. Side by side here. Mr. Bors and Brian Yannick once again. We are making good use of that AMC Javelin, despite having put the left hand door through a bit of work. It did look like Ryan would have to run onto the straight there for a moment, but not quite able to make it. And again has to get out of the way there for Austin Johnson this time. And then we have Grant Rodol, and then it's nearly more or less half a lap to third place. That's the pace of the top two. see I'm on board with Jason Whited here. We'll see if he can get up Francois Romain. Give Francois a bit of something to think about. And it looks like he... Wow, Jason is really strong through the S's here. Possibly struggling just a tiny bit up in that right hand, 90-degree right-hander, but Francois goes really deep into that braking zone. That should put Jason in the slipstream. Oh, as Brian Yannick has made a mistake as well. He's now back behind these guys. Oh, there's actually contact between Boss and Brian. So tried to get on the throttle, got a bit too sideways and had nowhere to go, neither did Brian, and Brian lost out. That's unfortunate for Brian, but at least he's now with his good mate Jason, and presumably him and the AMC man will be able to have a good fight here, along with Francois and Jason Whited, of course. There's actually been 3 engines so far. I didn't realize it was engine related. So I wonder if Steve and Alberto, who retired on the same lap, would have been in a situation with each other. Really close there is Jason Whited on Francois. Francois Romain going really deep there. Let's see if Jason can get up to the inside, get by. Francois should have the run off the corner, and he does. White are going to get past in the S's instead. Very clearly is very quick. Yeah, look at that speed difference. Oh my god. Brian working on Jason up ahead of us as well. And here comes Austin Johnson to put a lap on them. That was unfortunate for Jason White, bad timing, but sometimes traffic works in your favor, sometimes they don't. You just need to live with the fact that it will more or less pace itself out to be more or less equal over the whole distance of a race. A bit of wall contact, so that should mean that actually not, he's able to hold it. Oh dear, there's a bit of contact there, hopefully no major trouble. Oh, really wide. Brian actually takes position. I wonder if he shouldn't give that one back. comes Austin as well. Our race leader, of course. And Jason doesn't want to let him by just yet. He wants to try and get back onto Ryan's tail, but here goes Austin up the inside, so I suspect Jason to be yielding here, and he does. Slots in behind, will try to use the slipstream. Look at that entry from Austin, he is so quick on the entry. Well, now he is Jason under attack from Francois. Looks like there's some more damage in White's car as well on the right rear, so I suppose he has made contact, or had contact made with him at some point. But it looks like now Mick Chapman is at the back of the field in his Plymouth, trying to survive with a dent in the left-hand door. Nathan Fitch as well with quite a bit of damage to his car, but the car is still rolling and therefore he will try to finish. Now of course we have Michael Drexler, Dave Miller, David Saber still soldiering on in his car with presumably completely rinsed tires. And then we have Whited and the whole group of guys trying to get on terms with each other, as it looks like Jason has gotten by Brian again. Sorry that we missed that, but I suppose that happened down the back straight. Just have a quick look, see what's the situation between Lampton and Yates and time given. That's strange. Let's actually jump up there. That's a perfect timing to be doing that. Because here goes David Yates up inside of there for third place. David really sideways. Looked like Peter would have a good run, but he didn't quite. Also got just a bit too much on the inside, lifted the car up. No matter how quick you go, if you're on two wheels and you're not going as with the grip or speed that you would with four wheels on the track. Here they both go up the inside of Michael Drexler. Good job. I believe this is his first race of the year, as he has trouble getting Amos to work. But I do know his graphics card has given up earlier, so with any kind of luck and good grace, he will have a new graphics card, and therefore he hopefully will be able to run AMS as well. we'll see him in the championships going on. And here is again David Yates on outside this time with Peter looking up the inside. And here and there he is in the Brute VP machine. Peter, I believe, is still out here then. Yep, he is. I can hear his engine. Too wide through here. Surely they won't get through this part. Oh, David drops back. So that's Peter back up into third position. Oh, and a bit of contact on the braking there. But of course, with it being an American series, as said by a NASCAR driver, well, if you have a bumper, you bump them off. So, presumably that's a bit of American strategy there from David. Didn't quite work, but definitely looks like a good scrap for third between the two of them. Let's go back to where these guys are for the battle between Yannick White of Vermeer and Whited once again. Was Jason White out of the track. Yannick has got him back by him, obviously. Oh, and Jason now brakes himself just a tiny bit, as does Francois. And here comes Jason White, and this could be an opportunity he was looking for. Will he actually make it around the other side here though? Not sure that would work. It hasn't, but if you can get a good run onto the straight here, you could still get by. At the end of it, and it looks like, oh, he gets on the grass just a little bit. That's ought to have killed all the run he had. But if he gets back in the slipstream, he could have an opportunity. When he's trying, he has to run. He looks up the inside here. Defends his position, but Jason White is looking for the cutback. This should work actually. He can have enough room on the inside. Don't think he quite had that. And he remains behind Vermeer for now. Brian and both of the Jasons are Americans. They probably feel very much at home driving these machines. Then we have Francois, who's from Belgium, I believe. If I'm wrong, Francois, I apologize. I think it's from the Netherlands, so my apologies, Francois. That's not very good of me, but the Netherlandian getting passed by Jason White there. Oh, as Brian heads for the pits. Is this a scheduled stop, I wonder? To put on some new tires and take on some fuel. Looks like it's fuel only. Doesn't seem to be any work being done on the tires. Means Saber gets by. Let's see if Dave Miller will be able to get by as well. looks like, am I right in that regard? Ouch, and Saber still at it here. And here we go. Neves isn't that far behind either. I believe Eves is in 5th position. He is indeed. Yannick's pit stop took a lot of time. He's way behind Mikael Drexler. So not sure if that was worth it or not. But here is the commentator's nightmare personified. Jason White and Jason Whited in the battle for, I believe, a top 10 finish in 9th and 8th indeed. There goes Whited up the inside, but I believe White will be able to hold it around the outside. He was really sideways for Whited, and White keeps the position. When Grant Riddle is in the pits as well, so this ought to be scheduled. See, Austin is still out on the racetrack, and Grant is in the pits. This is interesting. What are we on? Lap 40, so just about above halfway here. So let's see. So they will presumably get by Grant. They will, because there's Grant still in the pits. As Placé heads into the pits. Saber has gotten by Ray Riddle, so not sure if Ray has had a moment or what's gone on there, but here's Dave Miller as well, laying in 11th. Mikael Drexler 12th, François Remer 13th, Brian Yannick currently 14th, with Jason Fitch 15th and Mick Chapman 16th. Let's see if Brian gets by Francois. Sounds like Francois is leaving the pits, possibly. He is indeed. He comes out just in front of Brian here. Let's see what Brian can do about Francois. He has a lap or two on the tires. Should have a bit more heat and therefore much better grip. And he's really trying to make use of it. Can't quite make it stick there, but possibly on the back straights. with a good run out of here. Also getting a really good run off the corner though. But Brian has to run in the slipstream, and here he goes up the inside in the kink. Francois trying to defend his position. But Brian able to pick it up. And Sabre in the pits, so he will lose out to these two. Whited in the pits, so Jason White pitted last time round, I expect. When actually Whited changing tires. White gets by, presumably Jason White didn't change tires. And here comes Dave as well. Going for 8th at the moment. Still to pit though, but nice to see him up in the top 10. And David Yates in the pits, Lavach stays out. And Austin Johnson comes into the pits as well. Not sure about how much contact was allowed in this kind of racing back in the day, but in NASCAR, as far as I can understand, it was more or less a regular thing. If you got taken out, you were completely entitled to take someone back, so to speak. As here comes Austin Johnson out of the pits. I believe he still holds on to the effective lead. David Yates might not be too far behind, I suppose. Unless I've been missing things. I sort of have. So Austin Johnson in effective race lead. Your boss, I'm not sure, I believe he has to pit. As past him goes Grant for effective second place. Here's Dave Miller and Yves Placé in a battle now. See what Dave can do if he is able to stick with him. Doesn't seem like he's quite able to do so. Here goes Dave into the pits, and there's Lavach as well in the pits. And here goes David Yates, so he's behind Yves Placé for the moment. Unfortunately, Mick Chapman is out of the race as Johan Boos heads into the pits. Not sure why Mick was over engine trouble for Dave, sorry, Mick as well. That's very unfortunate indeed. So it looks like David took tires. I'm not sure Lavage did. So Lavage now dives up the inside of Jason White. That brute British Petroleum sponsored car is working really well here tonight. Appear to not pedaling it badly either. That's why the British generally doesn't use double negatives. That sounded very wrong. But anyway, that's Austin Johnson lapping them once again. When Michael Drexler out as well. Dear me, that's another engine as well. Well, these cars are very picky about the engines, especially with the way you need to change gear. I'll just leave you with this camera angle for a little bit as I'm going to get something to drink, so I'll be back in a couple of moments, but until then, enjoy the view. As it looks like there were quite a few drivers actually really close to one another, and there is. As I come back. My apologies for that. With Peter Lavac on the attack against Juha Boss. Went around outside, surely not. Really sideways on the throttle. One amazing pass from Peter. And actually Ray up in third here. I wonder if he's been in the pits at all here. Yes, he has. That's 3:26. That must be him in the pits. So that's very good for Ray, getting up into third here. Still a bit to go, but definitely in a good position for the rest of this race. As we have a move with David Yates, looking to try and get back on to terms with the rest of the drivers inside the top 5. My apologies, turn the mic off. As indeed Jason Fitch has unfortunately retired in the end with an engine failure. Not sure what kind, but an engine failure nonetheless, and I'd expect Brian is this far behind because he repaired damage or something in the pits. That's a lot of lost time, unfortunately, compared to where the rest of those he was racing with are. Track. looks like the battle is on for what I believe is 5th position here. Between Juha Bos and Yves Placent, with Jake Saint far behind. Here he comes up the inside. There goes, trying to look up the inside. The Alan Moffat racing car. Mustang not quite able to make it work there. He's trying for the cutback. Not quite able to make it work. Really sideways on the throttle. Now David Yates is right behind these two. Trying to take advantage of their fighting between each other. Big mistake from Yves, trying to look for the move on Bos. Oh, and out hard into the outside barrier. That creates quite a dent in his car. They were able to take advantage and were really sideways. And again really sideways. Leaves himself out in the dirt, so not able to take advantage. Oh dearie me! Wow! Yikes! Way too late on the brakes there. Yves trying to make it work here, but I think David is on. No, he actually drops in behind. So David a slight error, and that lets Yves back past. A double slipstream for David here, looking for the cutback. I think anyway. Yep, he is. Look at this trajectory, looking great. When a sandwich, he goes up between them. Oh, that's close. Oh, and he's on outside. He'll lose both positions on the exit here. I'm sure of it. That was a great opportunistic try. Oh, and Bos on the dirt. Oh, Yves on the inside, kicking up dirt as well. All of them survive. Oh, but how close do you want it right there? Trying to run up the exhaust pipe with that Mustang ahead. Oh, and Bos makes a bit of a mistake on the dirty road here. You see, is he able to outbrake Yves down into this right-hander though? He is. Will he lose it on exit though? Well, he nearly does, but he holds on for now. And here comes David with a great run. Well, this will be 3 wide any moment now, I think, unless Eves is going to just push Bors down the straight. And he is. He'll have to be careful with his own engine though, so that he doesn't overheat. That was an aggressive downshift from David, it sounded like. When Eves again in the outside wall and almost contact between them. It seems like... Oh, is he... Don't tell me Eves is out. Whose engine is dead, it would seem like he's out indeed. That's very unfortunate, and it's another engine failure as well. So it was Eves with that aggressive downshift that I heard. That's really unfortunate. But back to this battle between Bors and David Yates. Looks like David will get by any moment now. Actually gives Bors a bit of a bump there to try and speed him up down straight. Doesn't want to pass him too early. Here he goes up the inside for the left hand kick at the end of the back straight. Oh, and just about gets out in front after the kick. Oh, but a bit wide, this could be Bors up the inside again. No, David looks like he'll take the position here, and he's up into, will that be 5th? It is indeed. So Lavac still trying to catch Ridol, and we can see here comes Ridol, and down there is Peter Lavac. Let's see where is David Yates and Bors. There they are. Not too far behind either. So still half a chance with just over 20 laps to go. So I just had some very good news on my end, so that's why I've been quiet for a little bit, as I just confirmed the news as such. We're getting a very good game to referee this coming Friday. Comes Jason White up the inside of Brian Yannick after a mistake from his fellow American. When both of them looking for the same piece of grey stuff, and White for now gets out on top. Looks like Brian may have the opportunity down the straight here. That's great to watch, they're still at it. I thought it would be resolved, but it's resolved going into turn, maybe not, because Brian looking for the cutback. And when here they come side by side, Brian just about cuts in front of Jason there. Great stuff to watch. Grant is still, Ray is still holding a good gap to Peter there. Here comes Jason White again down the straight. And he has the position after the king, but here comes Brian back at him up the inside into the last corner. Again Brian holds on. Not sure for how long he'll be able to do so. When we have about 18 laps to go. Riverside again looking for the good run onto the back straight, getting it a little bit squirmy there. I think that will have lost him just a little bit of the run down the straight, as I'm trying to say. Let's have a ride on board a mean green machine. So we can see Ray up ahead. My question is if there's enough time left in the race for Peter to both catch and pass Ray. I have my doubts, but we'll see towards the end of the race whether he'll be able to pass him or not. But for now, let's see how much he closes in on the next lap. Something I noticed riding on board with Peter here is very precise with his placing of the car. He's right on the white line, but barely going over it at all with the inside wheel, which is a mark of a very good driver car and setup combination, I'd say. Looks like he will have closed in a couple of tenths to 3 tenths this lap. We're about a car length, not much more than that, but I'd say he's closing in ever so consistently on Ray. Of course, there's also the slight issue of the engines. Will they be able to last? Especially with the frantic pace for Austin and Grant especially. Both of them flying around this track and seemingly working their cars very hard. I thought I told you the good news. I'll have a very good game to referee on the Friday. It'll be a highest local series ladies game, Division 2, with one of the teams being a very good local team. Not entirely aware of who they are playing against, but either way it will surely be a great game. As we continue to watch this battle between Ryan and Jason. Ryan fighting Jason again, but not his old good friend, but presumably a new good friend, considering how close Jason and Ryan is here. Austin Johnson, the leader of the race, are coming up behind them as well. Put them another lap down. As Austin goes up the inside of Jason Whitehead there. Definitely looks like Peter is getting closer. And that's a great trajectory through turn 1 this time around for Peter. Right on the ragged edge. Greg Della Cella says he's really enjoyed throwing the cars around, but had nowhere to go in his incident. He's now going to cook up some chili and watch the game. I'd assume that's the Super Bowl game. Greg will enjoy that and have a good fun, no matter whether he is able to finish or not. Apparently Mikael Drexler was setting up his pit crew to do the work in the pits and lost track of exactly where the track was going and turned in too late for this kink, and I'd assume that white tire wall on outside is what he hit, put himself into retirement, unfortunately. But either way, we will have a fight for third very shortly, as Peter is still catching Ray at a consistent amount every lap. Grant trying to put the lap on your boss here. They got really close to one another. You are with a few more scars to his car, looks like he's struggling a little bit. So 12 laps to go, more or less, in this race, and the battle is on for third. Hopefully this will be a good one. See here Peter getting ever closer. This section of the track, Peter is clearly very strong. And he has that. He has that car working very well for him. I assume the Ford Mustang doesn't mind a few corners, at least compared to the other cars in this race, as he tries to go around outside of the AMC. Can't quite make it around Ray, but I'd assume Peter has new tires, Ray has not, so this will be a long, hard struggle for the last 11 laps if Ray is to stay ahead. And here comes Peter, looking for the move, and Francois in here as well, trying to get out of the way. Ooh. Dear me, Ray way out wide. Clearly didn't want to turn into Peter there, and Peter gets up into third for now. Let's see if Ray can fight back. does looks like having someone to follow through the SS is preferential for both of these guys, as Ray now was the quicker of the two through the SS. See what Ray can do in the slipstream here. As Dave Miller is up ahead. Here comes Ray. He actually backs off. Peter really crossed up. To come nicely through the corner though. Ray struggling a little bit more. When Grant is out! Whatever happened here? Deary me. If I press the correct buttons, we'll be able to have a look. Oh, that looks... Don't tell me he had a disconnection. Who would see me had? Deary me, that's so unlucky. Oh. Worst piece of luck anyone can have, because that's what, 10 laps until the end of the race where he has had a disconnection. It's so unlucky. This elevates Ray back into the top 3. The podium positions, and David Yates quite a bit behind, so I think it'll take quite a bit for David to get third in this race. When David really wide there, and again wide, really trying hard. A bit too much throttle then. So it looks like he won't be able to catch the guys in front, and everyone, unfortunately for us, very spread out. Let's have another ride on board with Austin, shall we? Just to see really the fastest driver here tonight work the track. It's really impressive to see Austin drive. Doesn't seem like he can put a wheel wrong in this race. To say that he gets a bit too much bit too much of a slide on there, but is able to hold it. Keeps on going. So Austin Johnson first, Peter Lavard second, Ray Riddell still third, with David Yates fourth, and rounding out the top 5 for now is Juha Boos. Jason White in 6th. I think he'll be pretty happy with that, considering how damaged his car looks to be. 7th looks to be Brian Yannick, not that far ahead of Jason White in 8th. 9th is François Remen. And rounding out the top 10 is David Sabre at the moment. Actually looking to unlap himself from Juha Boos by the looks of things. And you, I suspect, just trying to look after the car. Now with only a few laps to go. 5 to be exact. And 11th and last of our runners is Dave Miller. Doing a good job in that 110. Numbered Plymouth to stay in the race. Unfortunately lost quite a bit of time in the pit stops by the looks of things. He was a bit further up in terms of the other drivers that is ahead of him now, back then, but still a really good job to be able to survive, as we've seen several drivers retire for one reason or another. Oh, and more damage to Jason White's car now. Wonder what has happened. I'd assume it's happened up over the hill right-hander back here. No, it didn't. So, oh, it happened back here. Let's see. Oh, wow, he was way too quick into the corner. My God. It looks like he may even have a puncture. He clearly doesn't want to pit for tires here. It'll lose him 2 minutes. So he'll just try to soldier on, I suppose. Savage what he can in this race. Oh, dear me! Oh, again in the wall. The car still holding on. If only just. But he'll lose at least one position here. As here goes Brian Yannick and Jason Whited, both of them getting by. So Jason White now down to 8th, unfortunately. I'm terribly sorry, Jason, I put the commentator's curse on you. It's not my intention at all. As Peter gets by in the lapping as well. Oh, don't tell me his engine has died. Oh, the smoke is a telltale sign. I'm so sorry, Jason. I'm really sorry. It's really bad luck. So that's unfortunately Jason White out of this race. I suppose the one positive side of that, if there is to be called any positives to that, is that Dave Miller will be elevated into the top 10. Looks like Dave has one more lap to do before he gets by Jason White. So we can see David Yates behind Dave now to put Dave another lap down from David Yates' point of view. Obviously here in the S's it ain't easy to let anyone by, so he lets him by right up here. Nice job, Dave. Yannick with another moment here. Jason White gets by. See if we can see what's happened. Oh, just a bit too much throttle. It's a very tiny error, but it loses him one position, so he's down to 7th. But so we have 2 laps to go. 1 left at the end of this race. Yeah, really bad luck, Jason, but at least it's good to hear that it seems like you enjoyed yourself. Sorry, Angel, for confusing you. But unfortunately, it looks like everyone is very spread out. As Austin heading towards the final corner will have one more lap to do before he wins this race. So let's give him his due and follow him for his final lap. He has driven an outstanding put in an amazing effort here and an outstanding drive as he starts his final lap. He makes just a bit of a mistake there. Don't pin it on the final lap, Austin. Just look at that line, that's absolutely beautiful. And the way he balances the car. And here he goes down the back straight for the final time in his Chevrolet Camaro. And that V8 howling. Into the final corner we go for the final time for Austin. Really sideways, really drifting it through the corner here, using up everything that's left of the tires. As he comes towards the final corner, start-finish line, and finishes the race and wins. Congratulations, Austin, that's a tremendous drive. Awesome job. And here comes Peter Lavac to finish second in a very, very nice drive from him. Really made good use of that Ford Mustang. Finished second here. And Ray Riddle, with a very consistent and nice drive here, will finish third. Fourth looks to be David Yates, so a nice recovery drive after a long pit stop. Fifth, once he gets to the start-finish line, will be Juha Boos. as he now goes into the final corner for the final time. Nicely done from you, finishing 5th, 6th. Will be Jason Whited once he gets to the start-finish line, although he has Brian for close company. And this is of course the final points paying position, so we'll hold Brian for a bit of a last minute try to get by if he can get close enough. I think he will be a bit too far behind to throw it up the inside here. But he's really late on the brakes and does what he can to try and get the opportunity here. But it looks like Jason White will hold on through the final corner and will finish in 6th here. Oh sorry, already my apologies. So we have Jason White in 6th, 7th for Brian Yannick, and unfortunately that we can't get the rest of them. I was a little bit late on that.
Attention, drill,
But yeah, the race is over and we are joined by Petr Lavac. Good evening, Petr, and congratulations on your 2nd place.
Thank you. Well, what can I say? I think I love the 2019 season, at least so far.
It definitely looks like it from looking at your results. That's another very strong finish.
Well, it's not just about the result, it's basically how much fun it was. Especially the fight with David Jakes during the first half of the race, actually. That was something I haven't experienced for some time. That was awesome.
I can understand that. It definitely looked like you had a good bit of fun fighting with him, and then you had the second half of the race trying to catch Ray and finally got by him. That also looked like was a lot of hard work, but also a lot of fun.
Well, I don't want to sound too cocky, but in case of Ray, I thought that was just a matter of time. Even though, you know, in the closing stages, when I got to, I don't know, 7 seconds behind him, then actually he started to go really fast, and then I started to worry whether I will catch him or not. But yeah, in the end, that was... I definitely don't want to say easy. It wasn't easy at all, but because Ray's an awesome racer, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's definitely one of those who are deeply respected at HSO. So it wasn't easy, but yeah, there we go. Position 2. I'm very happy with it. Do you know what happened to Grant?
Looked like it was a disconnection.
Oh damn. Okay, that's not how you want to get a 2nd position. Actually, quite similar to Austin's blow up in Phoenix, but yeah, it happened.
Indeed, but at least you had a lot of good fun tonight, and I'd expect we will see you back for the next round of the Gold Stars.
Well, if I make it, yeah, sure. I'll be glad to join you.
That sounds great. Okay, since we don't seem to have anyone else heading in here to have a chat, we'll cap off the broadcast, I think. Thank you everyone for tuning in for this event, and for all the racers to take part and put on a good show, and Peter for coming in here and having a post-race chat with us. And until this upcoming Sunday for the 1980 Pro Car Series at Monaco, have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Everybody.
User disconnected from your channel.